Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. It is Friday, December 15th, and Joe Biden, good old Joey, is still the worst president in American history. We're almost at the end of the year here, which means we've survived 3 long years of Joe Biden being president, and we got one more to go. One more year of Joe to go. We got to get out and vote for Mr. 45, Donald J. Trump, to make America great again. Now, the media is going to do everything they possibly can to make sure that doesn't happen. We got a supercut here of the media saying, you can't vote for Trump. A second term's going to be terrible. He's going to destroy the democracy. The republic will fall. Watch the supercut, folks. It's wild.
What would a second Donald Trump term look like?
Well, he cannot be the next president because if he is...
You can't imagine the things that he's going to do. Mexico, Canada. We can't go to Canada because eventually Canada will become annexed to America.
And shoot visitors to the White House. Yeah, that means he can shoot the First Lady.
We're going to see violence, the likes of which we didn't even see on January 6th.
Make it illegal to run against him, to throw his opponents in jail, to shut down the media.
He will make himself into the Fuhrer, and he will make everybody raise their hand and salute him.
Using martial law against the American people.
Terminate the Constitution.
To rewrite the Constitution.
Create mass internment camps.
Throw everyone into Gitmo.
Might be sent to jail, or their rights might be suppressed, especially minority groups in society.
You might have any number of things happen to you and your family.
Every one of us, our freedom, our liberty, none of us is safe.
It's going to have people around him executing against an enemy's list.
Assassinate generals.
Ordering troops to attack American citizens.
Trump's very well-armed and extremist base will try to kill people.
He's going to basically burn the house down.
He will unravel the institutions of our democracy.
Draw similarities between Mussolini and Hitler.
Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini.
Makes Donald Trump even more dangerous.
Wants to take away your vote. Senate and the House are immediately going to be paralyzed.
People will begin in their minds to censor themselves. They might say, well, maybe I shouldn't say this.
This is the end of democracy.
I think that could be the end of our democracy.
But democracy is dead if Trump is reelected.
Cozy up to Putin that democracy will be at risk.
The absolute destruction of the Justice Department as we know it.
The Justice Department could be entirely transformed.
I am really concerned about that.
Every person who was associated with the attempted coup elevated in the administration.
If he's reelected, he will curb transgender rights.
The end of the rule of law.
Arrest political opponents.
To persecute, not prosecute, but persecute his enemies.
Take a wrecking ball to the rule of law.
He's going to make the law. Everyone else will have to follow.
A vote for Donald Trump may mean the last election that you ever get to vote.
I think you get the gist of it, folks, and it keeps going. There's almost another minute of that. It just keeps going and going and going. The media is going insane because they know that Joe Biden's days are numbered. There's no way that Joe Biden's going to run another term. I did a poll, and everybody said, no, he's not going to run. But some people were commenting going, oh, well, he already said he was going to run. Joe Biden says a lot of insane things. I'm not going to take him seriously. To be fair, Donald Trump says a lot of crazy things, too. I don't take everything he says seriously. But it's like, Joe Biden, really? The guy that's not all there? The guy that's not all there? We're going to take every word that he says as serious? I don't think so. I don't freaking think so. We got a lot about Joey today. We got a lot of news to cover on this Friday episode. A little bit of a late episode being uploaded, but an episode nonetheless, folks. As you can tell, the energy's back. The charisma's here. We're feeling a lot better, folks. I've been sleeping a lot, taking a lot of naps. But, thankful for all your prayers, your emails, your comments. I really do read all of them, and I'm greatly appreciated. Again, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. It does support the channel greatly. What we're going to roll into, folks, is our lead story of the day. We got Jean-Pierre answering questions from White House reporter Ed. And I don't know his last name. He's the bald guy. But he does a lot of stuff on the economy. Watch how she sits there and blames anything and everything about what's going on with inflation, gas prices, consumer goods, all that stuff, rather than Joe Biden. Let's roll it.
Get it.
Thanks, Pete. I want to ask you about inflation. So you mentioned the price of eggs, milk, and gas are down over the past year, but what do you say to Americans who are looking at the month that President Biden came into office? Eggs are up 24%, milk is up 17%, all types of gas is up 37%, and the prices overall are up 17%.
So look, the president actually spoke to this not too long ago, I believe on Tuesday, actually, just a couple days ago, and he says we know there's more work to be done, right? And that things are still unaffordable. And so while the prices, as you just mentioned, of eggs and gas and milk and toys and TVs are down, especially in this time as we're headed into a holiday season, as we're in a holiday season, there's more work to be done. And that's important. And that's why we're fighting to lower insulin. That's why we talk about junk fees and how we can save Americans money, right? That's why we continue to talk about health insurance premiums. That's why we're...
Why are we talking about health? That's great. People can't buy eggs, lady. Bread, like essentials. We're not talking about like all this foo-foo stuff like candy and chips, even though that's through the roof as well. Like a bag of chips is like $5 or $6 now. A box of cereal $6.99, like a regular box of cereal. Well, you know, you get insulin. Look, that's great, fine and dandy. Gas prices are up. All services are up. Consumer goods are through the roof. Well, you know, you could sit there and, you know, get this and that done. You're not getting anything done. You're not getting anything done. And you also have to love that she goes, well, you know, prices are down from last year. Everything is still up from when Joe Biden got into office, lady. Well, you know, their prices are down from 24 hours ago. See how she manipulates that stuff to push a narrative and to fit a narrative? Well, they're down from last year. Everything is still up since Joe Biden's been in office.
The president's going to make an announcement about what we were able to do with one of the provisions that's in the Inflation Reduction Act that only Democrats voted for, not Republicans, in order for seniors to get rebates on their Medicare. So all of those things are truly important. And so that's why he's doing everything that he can to do that. And you have Republicans on the other side of the aisle, right, who are talking about cutting taxes for the wealthy, big corporations, right, who are talking about cutting Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. So
that's bullshit. I'm sorry to cuss, but that is such bullshit. We've hashed this out so many times. That's a lie. Don't believe what she just said. One bit of it. And she gets away with this crap of blaming Republicans when they want to cut Social Security and all these other things. By the way, to go back to the first point that she was talking about with the healthcare services for retirement, for the elderly, anybody 65 and up, that's great. What about everybody else? What about freaking everybody else? But blame Republicans. They want to cut all this stuff. No, they don't. It's a lie. It's bullshit.
The president's going to continue to fight for the American people, continue to make sure they have a little bit of breathing room. Is there more work to be done? Absolutely. But we have seen some prices go down in all of the products that I just listed. We have. There's still more work.
What products? You listed everything of that. You listed like insulin. That's what I heard. You said insulin. And then a couple other things that we're not even sure actually dropped down in price. What do you mean all these other things? Like it's a laundry list of things that you don't even know where to start on the list, Karine. Come on.
To be done, and we're going to continue to do that work.
But I want to ask you about
right,
the transition.
And that matters, right? It matters that we're not in. No, wait. It matters. Let's not forget what has been happening almost 2 years now, right? Putin's war right, but that has caused inflation. That has caused prices to go up, right? And so the president took action to make sure gas prices went down, which they have, right? And we're coming out of this pandemic. So all of those things have been part of where inflation
Folks,
is.
if you're curious, and those on audio aren't seeing this, I'm just looking at my watch to figure out like what's the date. Well, you know, I'm gonna blame it on Putin. This freaking charade is so tiring, and luckily Ed pushed back a little bit here, going, "Yeah, that was like years ago." What? Well, it still has ramification and effects on everything. Yeah, everything does. You talk on the podium like an idiot has ramifications on the economy, lady. Frig, dude. They're blaming Putin's price hike. We've shown the graph time and time again. Gas prices and everything was already skyrocketing when Joe Biden took office. Like right when he took office, the following days, just bam, vertical spike. Putin didn't invade until like a year later, months later. And they're going to call it the Putin price hike, blame everything on Putin. And then when they couldn't blame it on Putin because gas prices went down, they're not going to give Putin credit for that. They're not going to give Republicans or anybody else credit for it. Joe Biden's going to take credit for it. But I thought everything was Putin's fault. And nor should Putin actually get credit for anything. But They're not going to blame themselves for what's going on. They're going to blame Republicans and everybody else. Well, you know, COVID was in 2020, lady. Like, a long time, 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Well, you know, COVID's still happening. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going to lose my ish.
But inflation is moderating. The president's going to continue to make sure that we lower cost and lower prices on those goods that you just listed out.
I want to ask you about the transition. The White House is asking today to speed up the transition to Force Electric, and one of the things they announced is the federal employees would take the train. It's 250 miles. There's a list of things. I'm wondering if the president is thinking about making the Beast electric.
So that's certainly a question for GSA and service.
Okay, a little bit of a softball question there at the end from Ed. They're making federal employees drive like electric cars. They're going to take trains and stuff like that. You know, force people against their will of what they actually want to do. I mean, typical stuff coming from the Democrat Party. Now, moving into our next segment here, phenomenal question from this one reporter, basically talking about Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, the scheme that's going on with all that stuff. And Karine Jean-Pierre just straight up lies. I know, shocker, straight up lies on the podium here. And watch how she's like, well, Republicans are going on a holiday. Republicans don't want to get anything done. They're going on a break. Here it is.
The impeachment inquiry, the House of Representatives voted last night to formally authorize the impeachment inquiry that started in September. For a lot of people at home who only view this in very broad strokes, could you explain to people why the president interacted with so many of his relatives, foreign associates, and why he continues to deny any interaction? How should people think about this?
Well, let's be very clear here. And I talked about this yesterday, and I'll talk about it a little bit more. And the president put out a statement yesterday that was very clear. It's, you know, what we're seeing from House Republicans is wasted time, and it is certainly, you know, baseless political stunt. That's what we're seeing.
She has the balls to say that it's a waste of time when the Democrats spent years, they're still doing it, by the way, going after Donald Trump ever since he went down the escalator. That wasn't a waste of time. That was all doable, even though the Democrats lied about stuff. The PP hoax, right? The Russian collusion, all fake. That wasn't a waste of taxpayer dollars. Millions of our dollars that could have went to somebody else, like our veterans or somebody. No, that wasn't a waste of time. Going after Donald Trump on the 25th Amendment, you know, oh, because his hand was shaking when he was having a glass of water. Like, the amount of times that we can come up with them going after Donald Trump for something and that not being a waste of time is head spinning, literally head spinning. But she's going to say, when we have verifiable evidence of money laundering, bribery taking place, both through bank statements and financial records, along with actual video and audio, along with emails and text messages from the Biden family, you know, it's a waste of time to look under the hood. It's so insane. Folks, people are lopping this up. Democrats believe this whole thing. They listen. It sounds crazy, folks. Trust me. I know. Sounds insane that people are listening to her, full-fledged believing this thing. Everything that comes out of her mouth, oh, they're right. I'm going to vote for Joey. There's people that are saying Joey's senile. Like they I should say senile. They think that he's sane. They think that he's all together. He's sharp as a whistle, right? He's sharp as a tack. He's loud as a whistle. Whatever, how the hell you want to frame these idiots on whatever the hell they say. I know it doesn't make sense. I'm just repeating and regurgitating what the hell they're saying. It's insane.
And they're leaving. House Republicans are leaving this week to go, you know, enjoy a nice holiday, right? As most Americans should. But what happened to the funding to Ukraine? You just asked me about Ukraine. They haven't been able to get that done. They haven't been able to help us fix what's going on at the border. They haven't been able to get that done. They haven't been able to start a conversation on how we're going to avert a shutdown in January. They haven't been able to do that. And so, look, you know, there's been zero evidence. Zero evidence. You can ask me about engagement and what the president has done with his family in conversation, but there's no evidence. But there's no evidence. There is no evidence that the president has done wrongdoing. There's none. Absolutely none.
Are you shitting me? Are you actually, I mean, we're beating a dead horse. We're beating a dead horse with this. We're coming back. We're coming back. 'Cause now I'm pissed. I mean, first of all, how many times is she going to say in the matter of like 8 seconds, there's no evidence. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. Really? Karine, you're going to tell me there's no evidence? There's plenty of freaking evidence. I mean, you got the bank statements. You got the records from the banks themselves talking about the shady, risky movement of money that they're doing that you would never see in your lifetime. You got $40,000 flowing in from a Chinese company into James Biden's bank account, then James Biden writing a freaking check to Joe Biden in his bank account, money funneling all which directions. They have 20 shell companies that are taking place from this freaking family. For all of what? They haven't done anything. Joe Biden's been in politics his entire life. His salary doesn't even make sense in terms of what he's able to afford and buy. Somehow he's getting $60,000 for rent money from Hunter Biden. Where'd Hunter get that money? From Burisma Holdings that was being looked under the hood by Shokin there in Ukraine regarding all the corruption that was taking place, not only in the country, but Burisma Holdings? Really? You got China giving money to Hunter Biden that's flowing to Joe Biden. You got text messages, you got emails. You got Joe Biden standing on the podium. I talked about nothing. I know nothing about Hunter Biden's business dealings. I know nothing about any of his associates. Associates who? I don't even have a son. Who's Hunter? You know, all this crazy stuff from Biden himself, and you're going to sit there, there's no evidence? Real? I mean, we could see it for ourselves, the bank statements. We could see the actual check, one for $200,000, one for $40,000, watching it funnel from the Chinese, sitting there, having the Chinese come out and say, hey, look, we're deferring the money. We're deferring the money so that whatever scheme was going on when you were vice president, we'll sit there and defer the payment till when you are done being vice president. Nobody's going to be able to track it. Well, we did, Karine. We were able to track it, and we still are tracking. This is just the stuff that we've uncovered in the matter of like a year or so. Can you imagine decades upon decades of corruption and the money laundering that must be taking place or allegedly taking place, and that how long it's going to take to unravel all this stuff? And then you also have money coming into Hunter Biden's account for supposedly a truck that he's giving to Joe Biden because he wasn't able to finance that truck, although that money's being traced back to China. We also have our oil reserve under the Biden administration that was sent to a Chinese province of which Hunter Biden and Joe Biden somehow has business dealings with. Go figure on that one. But no evidence, you guys, whatsoever. And I'm just rambling off the top of my head on this stuff, and I'm an idiot in the closet. Can you imagine what the guys that actually get paid to do this stuff on the Republican side of the aisle, James Comey, whoever the hell else is involved in this, maybe Jim Jordan, are looking under the hood on this stuff, Kareem? But again, no evidence, you guys. There's no evidence whatsoever. There's no text messages. There's no business partners like Devin Archer that exist out there. The Biden laptop doesn't exist. Joe Biden lying in front of the camera doesn't exist. It's all Russian misinformation, Russian disinformation. But yeah, no, we're going to believe everything this idiot has to say here on the podium.
And that is just a fact. You've heard it from Republicans themselves. So they're wasting their time. Instead of doing the work on behalf of the American people, they go after the president's family. That's a waste of time.
Is there an easy way to counter the central message, though, that the president interacted with associates and has been lying about it since?
The president's not lying about anything as it relates to what House Republicans are trying to do. It is baseless. It is a political stunt, and it has not proven that the president has done anything wrong. And so they are wasting their time. They are wasting the American people's time. And what they should be doing is the things that I just listed. They're going to go home, but they haven't taken care of what we need to make sure that we are helping Ukraine. There's going to be potentially a shutdown next month. They have done nothing to avert that shutdown. Go ahead.
It's not ill. We're not done. So, look, went on a little bit of a rant there regarding Joe Biden, lying relentlessly about everything. She's going to sit there, well, he wasn't lying about anything with his business associates. Really, Karine? Really? And then let me get into the whole idea of Republicans going on vacation. But there was a phenomenal clip here on Dan Bongino's show. If you haven't seen Dan Bongino, I highly recommend you check him out. Very similar to our style of show. I'm not as good as Dan. I will never say I'm as good as Dan. I wanna be a guest on his show. But very similar audiences, guys. They're American patriots over there just as much as you are. But here's a clip of a supercut of Joe Biden and the lying and the messaging and how everything's changed from this administration from beginning to end. Let's roll it.
How many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I've never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period.
The president was never in business with his son.
Joe Biden did interact with some of his son's associates while serving as vice president, though it's unclear exactly what was discussed.
President Biden didn't even know who the people he was at dinner. He was just asked to say hello, and he would, talk about the way he described it several times. They asked over and over and over. He described what the weather was, what's going on your end.
That's bullshit, by the way. I know I keep cussing, but I'm sorry, it's BS, and I don't want people to believe this. It's BS. That dude's gonna sit there while he was talking to him about the weather. He had no idea who these people were. Devin Archer was Hunter Biden's business associate. Joe Biden knew who he was. Devin Archer's been to freaking multiple dinners. He's been to the White House with the Bidens. You're going to tell me, oh, well, how was the weather, Devin? Like, I don't know who you are. Who the hell are you? I've met you multiple times.
Father was not financially involved in my business.
I've never discussed my business or their business, my sons or daughters, and I've never discussed them because they know where I have to do my job and that's it, and they have to make their own job.
Look, it's BS, folks. I know that you know this, but I want to sit there and provide the evidence for all of it. And then, you know what? You're going to have Karine sit there and go, hey, Republicans, they're going on vacation. Republicans aren't going to resolve the border. Republicans aren't going to give more money to Ukraine. They're not going to sit there and fix the deficit and raise the debt ceiling so we could sit there and pay our bills. And in other words, just take out more credit and more money that we don't have. So here's Ed O'Keefe of CBS News actually pushing back on Karine here, going, well, if you're going to sit there and hound the Republicans for going on vacation, is Joe Biden planning on staying and not going on vacation himself for the holidays and trying to resolve this issue? Here's her response.
Things. You keep mentioning how the House has left town. Would the president consider postponing any Christmas vacation plans of his own if there's no deal on Ukraine?
We're hoping that a deal is done. I can't talk about changes in the president's schedule. We still have a week left, right, before that happens. We know that the conversation is going well, right? It's going in the right direction, we believe. We're encouraged by that. The president's team was on the Hill yesterday and also today, and also Tuesday. And so that's encouraging. That's encouraging. And that's what we're going to focus on. I just don't have anything, we don't have anything to share on the president's schedule. He's going to go, as you know, to Milwaukee on Wednesday and on Tuesday.
Nothing to share, folks, about the president. It's amazing how she's just so willing to rip on the GOP for this. And mind you, I think the GOP should stay in Congress. I don't think Congress should go home without having certain things resolved. But it's amazing to me of like, oh, well, is the president going to stick around? Well, I don't have anything on his calendar about, whatever. Hey, we still have time. Well, if we still have time, then why are you talking shit on the GOP for going home on the holidays? And, if we still have time, maybe bring it up after the fact. But the question still remains of, well, what's Joe Biden going to do? Is Joe Biden going to go on vacation? Well, you got slacker in chief here. Slacker in chief, because Joe Biden keeps up record of 40% vacation pace despite disasters. Yes, folks, as of last Sunday, now this was back in September, so it's even worse now. As of last Sunday, Biden has spent all of part of 382 days of his presidency's 957 days, or 40% on personal overnight trips away from the White House, putting him on pace to become America's most idle commander-in-chief. And she's going to sit there and try to call out Republicans for this stuff. Oh, well, Joe Biden's not lying. He doesn't know who his associates are. Well, GOP's not resolving anything. They're not willing to help us with the border. Lady, you had all three branches of government for 2 years and you didn't do jack bleep about the border. Don't act like you care. We all know your game plan to let in tens of millions of people. Folks, I've said this time and time again, but I want to say it again because we had a lot of new subscribers. Welcome. You are true American patriots. We'd love for you to join our community right over here. We are building a community here, folks, from the grassroots, from the ground up. We're not beholden to a corporation. We're going to say whatever the hell we want here on the show. Folks, the money, the charades from this administration is off the chains ridiculous. And I want to point out here that this dude has spent more time on vacation than pretty much everybody. If you remember, they went after Donald Trump for going golfing all the time. They went after George W. Bush for doing the same thing. Barack Obama goes on vacation, not an issue. Joe Biden goes on vacation, not an issue. But she's going to sit there and blame the GOP for all these things about the border. Now, it's their game plan to allow in millions of people to pour across the border so that they can get votes. Because we said statistically, somebody that sits there and it becomes or receives amnesty or becomes a citizen that first year and thereafter for a good while, they vote Democrat because they feel like they're beholden to vote Democrat because they're the ones that gave them their citizenship, even though they came in illegally and they cut the line in front of a bunch of people. It's so bad. There's so many illegal people here. You are talking about more than the population of half of our states. That is not a joke. There is more people here illegally than if you took half of our states. If you don't see that being an issue, if you don't see Democrats trying to take a hold of that, you are blind. I'm sorry. I love you, but you are blind if you think that this is not the Democrats' agenda right here. What's going to happen, and mark my words, what's going to happen is you're going to get a Republican in office. Republicans are going to negotiate for a border wall to seal up the border, make sure this never happens again, to fix the immigration issue. All for giving everybody that's here illegally amnesty. You just lost a Republican vote for the rest of your life. They're going to vote Democrat for the rest of their lives because they're beholden to the Democrat Party now at that point. Mark my words, it's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't, but the Republic is falling, folks, and it's not Republicans' fault. It's Democrats' fault, and these progressive leftists primarily for crippling this country from the inside out, which is why we wrote an entire book on it, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. Grab yourself a copy, folks. It's a great holiday gift. Everything's at baldbrad.com. But you're seeing this president, you're seeing this party, specifically the outgrowth of the Democrat Party, the progressive left, destroying this country from the inside out with their policies, with their lack of executing the laws on the books from the executive branch. Everything is going downhill big time. And things are going downhill big time, which is why the media are scrambling here to sit and make sure Donald Trump doesn't get back in office, because they love the fact that Democrats are destroying this country from the inside out. If they weren't, folks, there's no reason to go after Donald Trump in the way that they were going after him that we saw in our very first segment when the show launched. But they're still doing it, which is why you get an MSNBC guest saying Trump in second term could turn off the internet. Right now, their goal is to just say crazy bleep, to go full-fledged crazy and say the most outlandish things they possibly can on national television, because they know there's some knuckleheads out there, Americans, that are actually going to believe this stuff. There's a video that we just did not too long ago. They're talking about, well, Donald Trump's just going to start executing people in the streets. I think that was Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe. It's wild what these people are saying. So you have Miles Taylor here, a knucklehead, a former member of the resistance, in the Trump administration, predicted Thursday that former President Donald Trump could turn off the internet if elected to the White House again. I mean, we have a video clip. We might as well watch it together. We got the video clip here for you. Here's the knucklehead.
Liz Cheney's been talking about that I am also obsessed with is kind of what damage he could do within government without even necessarily breaking the law, like how he could use the levers of government to bend to his will. You've worked in government. What scares you the most?
Well, the possibilities are almost limitless, and I spent nearly 2 years asking that question to people, and I wrote it in this book, Blowback, but to try to paint that picture, to try to
Blowback written by a blowhard. How ironic.
Understand what he would actually do by talking to all of my former colleagues at different departments and agencies under Trump and asking them that question. What will happen in a second term? The biggest concerns for me are on the national security side. I think Americans still don't understand the full extent of the president's powers and things Donald Trump could do, bubble wrapped in legalese, that would be damaging to the republic. And one of those that I've noted is there's something in the White House called the Doomsday Book. And for the first time, DHS gave authorization for me to mention this publicly. And the fact that there are concerns that that book, which is supposed to be used to protect the country in instances of armed foreign invasion or rebellion.
Oh, that sounds an awful lot like what's happening at the southern border here, an armed invasion. Now, some of these people are coming in with arms. The Border Patrol has said so. They've fired at the Border Patrol. They've killed Border Patrol agents. They're also coming in with fentanyl and drugs. And by the way, Mexico just found 10 IEDs along the southern border. So don't give me this of like, well, they are coming in with weapons. Yeah, they are. Oh, yeah, they are.
The president's most extraordinary powers could be picked up by Trump and used for domestic political purposes. He could invoke. That applies
to even Democrats, you knucklehead. Well, Trump could use it. Yeah, so could Joe Biden.
Powers we've never heard a president of the United States invoke, potentially to shut down companies or turn off the internet or deploy the U.S. military on U.S. soil. We don't know because, the things that are in there, the emergency powers of the president, aren't widely known to the American people. So that's a big worry for people like me. And
all right, enough of this knucklehead. Well, you could turn off the internet. Yeah, he could do a lot of things. I mean, you're just coming up with shit of like, well, he could launch a nuke, which he said, right? There's going to be nuclear war. There's going to be a World War III and all these other things. I mean, folks, they are going so ballistic. The left is already losing their minds, and he hasn't even gotten in the office yet. Can you imagine what they're going to try to do when he's in office? Oh, he's going to blow up the world. He's a threat to democracy. Look what he did on January 6th. Shut up. Shut up. God, these people, man. These freaking people. Well, you know, if you heard him, he's mentioning, the border and, all these illegal immigrants and all these other things, and he could delete the internet. And obviously, I'm being a little bit facetious, but he's talking about utilization of troops on American soil. Yeah, we would probably put American troops at the southern border because of the damage the Democrat Party has done at the southern border. I mean, that is the actual job of the executive branch, is to execute the laws in the books, but also protect the American people from a foreign adversary that's either domestic or abroad. We got a lot of domestic people coming across the border here into our country illegally that we don't know anything about. There's known terrorists. We've apprehended almost 300 terrorists coming across the border. That's what we know of. Even if you took 1%, 10%, folks, that's too many. We know there's terrorists in the country because of Joe Biden. There's probably going to be a terrorist attack because of Joe Biden, and it's going to be Democrats that are blamed. And speaking about illegal immigration, you got New York City spending tens of thousands on migrant meals that get trashed. 70,000 meals were wasted in less than 3 weeks. Oh, baby, spending more money here. A lot of money. New York City is spending tens of thousands of dollars on meals for illegal immigrants that end up in the trash. About 70,000 meals that cost $11 each were marked wasted in less than 3 weeks recently by DocGo, a medical services company tapped by the city to provide migrant care, according to the internal company documents reported by the New York Times. The meals meant to be eaten by 4,000 migrants, sweet baby Jesus, were tossed between October 22nd and November 10th. The city pays DocGo up to $33 a day per migrant for meals a day. This means that the wasted food costs as much as almost $1 million, you guys. 776,000 or about 39,000 a day. Isn't that just insane? That level of waste, the price tag could top 1 million in a month. Oh my, it's just money out the door. Folks, that's not even talking about the hotel fees, the encampments that they're posting up for these illegal immigrants, where they're getting bedding, Xboxes, plasma TVs, couches, coffee tables, full phone services, 3 meals a day of a revolving menu that's catered to their culture. Our video segment that showed the proof of it, the actual video, got removed from YouTube. We're getting flagged on every single video right now on YouTube, by the way. I do want to point that out. We're getting flagged on every single freaking video that I've been posting in basically a week here. So the last 3 or 4 videos have been flagged for, it's not age appropriate when I'm revealing the fraud done by the Biden freaking family here or the Biden administration. You got these lefties targeting us, folks. We're not even that big of a channel. We're already being targeted here. We've gotten death threats on the show. We've had videos removed from the show. You guys have been swindled and screwed around on your channels, meaning your YouTube accounts, by you being unsubscribed from the show, even though you never done it. You've had your notification bells turned off. So I have 5%. I looked at the data. I have 5% of my subscribers have their bell notifications turned off. I asked YouTube about it. They go, oh, well, no, they have to turn it on themselves. It just so happens everybody's just turned off. Really? All 45,000 or roughly how many people we have? 40,000 of that we have 50,000, but 5% of the 50,000 are just all of theirs are turned off just randomly. 95% of my subscribers' bell notifications are just turned off. Really? Doesn't sound a little odd to anybody? Even the dude that I was talking to on YouTube, I know I'm on a side tangent here. Even the dude that I was talking to on YouTube goes, yeah, that's really, that's not normal. That's like really low number. Even he admitted that it sounded odd. But we're not being screwed around with. You're not being screwed around whatsoever, even though your comments got deleted. YouTube won't let you post my videos. You all admitted this. A lot of people have admitted this. It's not like 1 or 2. It's way more than 1 or 2. Let me tell you. It's probably in the hundreds at this point. We're being screwed with, folks. In the same way the government is screwing us left and right with Biden being in office, from our grocery prices to our services, to our foreign policy to our domestic policy. We're all being effed right now. But hey, you know what? Maui didn't get the money, but I'm sure glad we're sending $200 million to freaking Ukraine. We got the border crisis taking place. We're feeding migrants better than our freaking own veterans, but I'm sure glad we're sending $200 billion to Ukraine. I'm sure glad Iran's getting $6 billion as well. I'm sure glad Afghanistan's getting money. I'm glad everybody else is being taken care of rather than our own freaking people. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And if that wasn't unbelievable, this one's really gonna. This one was actually head spinning. I haven't read the article. I saw the title. I was like, we got to talk about this because If you want to see the state of not just our country, not just our education system, but just the base of the Democrat Party, it's right here. School board member sworn in on stack of gay porn instead of the Bible. This shows you everything you need to know, the state of our education system. It just shows you the indoctrination that's taking place within our education system. It's literally the perfect title, and it's the perfect image showing how far things have gotten in this country with the left. A school board member in Virginia took his oath of office with his hand on not on a Bible, but on a stack of books containing graphic depictions of gay sex. Of course. This dude, who will become chairman of the Fairfax County School Board, swapped the Bible for books including Lawn Boy, Genderqueer, and Flamer. His male partner held the books as he placed his left hand on them and his right hand in the air. You're seeing the fall of religion in this country. You're seeing the fall of morality, even though I don't think you have to be a religious person to carry moral viewpoints and inculcate those values within yourself and your children. I think you can be a morally righteous person without actually believing in a certain faith. But you're seeing how that doesn't fall in line the majority of the time. If somebody's not a believer, they're more likely to commit some sort of crime or living out a less righteous life than that of a believer. Quote, he was sworn in on a stack of 5 LGBTQ-themed books, most frequently banned by other school systems. I mean, talk about giving the middle finger to Christians, Jews, and a lot of other faiths right here by swearing yourself in on something that has no God. But one might say that the left is more religious than even that of Jews and Christians and Catholics or whoever else you want to say. Check this out. In 2021, nearly all Fairfax school board members except this person fled the days as a mother read passages from the books. What if I told you I touched another guy's dick? What if I, whoa, this is going way further than I thought it would. What if I told you I sucked it? I was 10 years old, but it's true. What the hell? I can't, I'm sorry guys, I'm not going to go further, but this is a passage from Lawn Boy. I'm not going to go further. That's freaking weird and disgusting. This is what they got your kids reading in school. Folks, if I feel uncomfortable reading this on air, I mean, there's grown adults, these sickos, these freaks that want to sit there and read this to your kid in the school system. Like, what the F? I'm an educator. I'm on your side, man. I ain't reading this crap. I don't feel comfortable. There's people that are all for this. Look, you're seeing folks, you are seeing a real-time reaction to me. I always tell you if I've read something or if I haven't read something. I haven't read this. This is insane. I wouldn't even feel comfortable even in just a natural conversation. But people want your kids to learn about this stuff. We've covered it at length here on the show. We've covered it at length where they're showing people how to masturbate to pornographic stuff. They're showing people how to use butt plugs and sex toys at elementary school level, folks. At elementary school level, talking about how to lube up all this stuff. It's insane, man. It's insane the damage that the left is doing to this country, that what they're doing to our kids, what they're doing to the education system, what they're doing to our borders, what they're doing to our military, all fronts. If we don't sit there and get out and vote, I'm telling you guys, we're not going to have a country. I didn't really believe that until probably about 2 years ago. And I started writing that book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America, doing a deep dive in our institutions, our government, regardless of whether it's Republican or Democrat. The progressive left is easily, without a doubt, the most dangerous threat to our country other than China and our foreign adversaries like Iran and other places. Obviously, Russia, China, that's a shoo-in. The progressive left are here right now. They are doing everything they can to get into all high levels of our culture, of our government, in our institutions, and they're sitting there and crippling this country from the inside out. And if we don't stand up at some point and get our asses out there to vote, if we don't sit there and stand up and actually vote in the GOP, the Republicans and conservatives that are going to sit there and turn this country around, we're not going to have one. And I pray to God it doesn't happen in our lifetime. I pray to God that I'm not around when our republic does fall. And it's not even necessarily going to be the Democrats, you guys. It's going to be the progressive left. They're going to destroy this country. And that's one of the main reasons of many why I started the show. Because I finally just said, F it. F it. They're going to target us no matter what. They go after us no matter what. They can sense and smell the patriotism on us, baby. Hey, you know what? Screw it then. We might as well say what we want because they're going to try to cancel us regardless. And the hope is if something happens to one of us, we can lift up each other. What I mean by that is, hey, you know what? Some of us might lose our job, including me, for saying just basic truths out there and giving my opinion on the internet. We might lose our jobs. And when that day comes, folks, I hope and I pray to God I have you guys there to uplift me. I pray to God, because your boy, a lot on the line. A lot is on the line. But, I'm hoping that we build a community in time there where if something like that does happen, then we still do the show. But the show is what keeps me afloat, if that makes sense. We're nowhere near that. We are nowhere near that. But that's what we're trying to build here, folks. A community of conservatives and Republicans that have each other's back, and not just have each other's back as family and friends and patriots, but also have America's back at the end of the day. And that's why we got to get on a boat. With that being said, folks, Friday episode, turn it in late. But, folks, it's an episode nonetheless. We're feeling a lot better again. Thank you so much for your comments. Please leave one down below. The live chat, you guys write in the live chat right now, I love reading them, but it doesn't actually, I don't know why YouTube algorithm doesn't support the live chat. You got to write in the comment section as well. I don't care what it is, just anything and everything. Put a letter for all I care. But if you want to comment on something, I do read every single one of them. But you writing a comment, hitting that like and subscribe button, especially hitting that like button, leave us a comment, does yeoman's work in supporting the show. And if you even want to go above and beyond, if you want to go crazy, we got merchandise. This is just one of the Bald Brad show. There is a logo on the back. You can't see it. Let me see if I can turn around here. Oh, yeah. I designed that bad boy. It's the American Patriot brand. All the links to everything is in the description below. We do have a book. It's for the holiday season too, folks. Grab one for a friend or family member. We got mugs. A lot of you are drinking out of the show mug with me as I'm drinking coffee right now. We're away from the tea at the time being, but a lot of goodies. Everything you need is in the description below. And think about joining us, folks. Again, we're trying to stay afloat here, trying to keep the lights on, and you contributing your hard-earned money. I get we're in Bidenomics, and Bidenomics is terrible. So don't feel like you have to. I'm not saying that. I would never do that. I would never do that. But if you feel like being generous and you feel like you want to give back to the show, everything goes back into upgrading it and making it bigger and better. But the join tab's right there. Again, feel like you don't have to, folks. You guys do amazing by just hanging out with me, and that's a blessing within itself. It's just there for those that want to go above and beyond. Again, you hitting that like and subscribe button, leave us a comment down below. Watching this all the way through, sharing with your friends and family is enough for me, folks. God bless you. Thank you for letting me hang out with you all. It's truly a blessing, and I'll see you tomorrow here